Hey, I'm Henry with Riles Design Build. We're building out here in Koosky, Idaho, an off-grid house. What you're looking at right now is all of our hydronic tubing and the foam that's going to insulate it underneath. All this is going to get poured on top of with a 4-inch concrete slab, and this is going to be the primary heat for the house. It's a really fantastic system if you can spring for it. It's far more efficient than a forced air system, far simpler and far lower maintenance. That concrete slab acts like a giant thermal battery and keeps your house at a nice comfortable temperature year-round with very little input of energy. That's really critical when you're building off-grid because you don't have the power lines to run a heat pump off of, and you don't have the gas line to fire a boiler off of. You got to fill up on propane, and you got to make do with what little energy you can generate from a photovoltaic system, which can be pretty significant, but you'd be surprised at how much something like an AC unit or a mini split could draw. This is a really neat system. We used to have to tie our PEX tubing down to the rebar after it was laid, and it was just a really sloppy and labor-intensive system. This is a new product, somewhat new, called Easy Floor. It's a 2-inch XPS foam that has these little Lego notches in it that you just press your tubing down into, and it speeds up installation by probably 200%. This install was courtesy of Larry Bowden of Sanitary Plumbing Systems out of Kamei, Idaho. If you're going to be building in the Clearwater Valley or remodeling, I can't recommend him highly enough. His professionalism, his timeliness, and his workmanship are top-notch, and he's an absolute pleasure to work with. I honestly think his work speaks for itself.
And so, first time I saw it was just kind of like, okay, well, this part of it was just kind of like, well, we're just doing what we're told, and I knew Ramsey already, so I knew he was pretty hype about it, so he came out, actually on our very first one, he came out and helped us, and just to show us, because he knew I was a plumber already, but he wanted to sell it, basically. So when that happened, I was like, dude, there ain't no other, there's no better way.
So this house has 3 different heating zones, one for the master suite, one for the great room, and one for the garage. The real benefit of hydronic heating is that it gets your slab up to a given temperature, and then it's very little energy input to maintain that temperature. If you're trying to change the temperature all the time, then that's going to be very inefficient. So what you want to do is you want to break your house into various zones so that you can, say, keep the master bedroom colder than you keep the great room, so it's easier to sleep at night, but you don't have to change the temperature all the time. This is really nice as a system for predominantly heating climates. So we're in climate zone 6 up here. So you're looking at roughly 9, maybe 10 months out of the year, you're going to be heating this house. That really comes into play because this system doesn't have any active cooling potential. Now, when I say active cooling potential, I don't mean that it can't cool the house. The slab itself, if the hydronics are turned off, is going to act as an excellent cooling surface during the summertime. That means that in the summertime, when it's 80, 90 degrees out, your slab is going to be about 50 degrees, or roughly what temperature it is underground. That's going to have a huge cooling effect for your house, especially if your design takes advantage of passive solar and stack ventilation, as this one does. And there will be more info on that later on down the line. Overall, this makes for a really nice house to live in. It's silent when it's running. It's very low maintenance. You just set it and forget it. And you can walk around in your house in bare feet in the middle of winter. It's really a pretty fantastic system. Thanks for watching, and be sure to keep an eye out because we've got more cool stuff headed your way on things like solar panels, backup generators, battery systems, cold roofs, and advanced framing. And remember, if you're in Oregon or Idaho, keep us in mind for your next custom build.